Okay, I graduated from high school in 1962. Immediately the next day, I started broadcasting school in Minneapolis. I was in a city called Rochester, which is about 90 miles away from Minneapolis, where the school was. Started the following Monday and graduated from Brown Institute of Broadcasting and Electronics in the following November, 1963. My first job in broadcasting, believe it or not, was in a little town in South Dakota called Garden City, which had a population of 280 people and had a TV station. The claim to fame, of course, broadcasting TV is a line of sight issue, and it was equally distanced between Huron, Aberdeen, and Watertown, the three big cities in the eastern part of South Dakota. And so that's where I started out. and from there, I was not real happy there because it was a very small town, not much going on, and it was a long way to drive to go somewhere. And so I just, kind of stayed there and rented a room from a nice lady in the town, and went to work every day. And one Saturday in January of '64. I got to work, and the morning guy said, somebody wants to talk to you. And I says, who's that? He says, guy by the name of Bob Cross in Rochester, Minnesota, where apparently you're from, right? And I says, yeah, well, I'm not originally from there, but that's where I spent most of my time while I was going to high school. And he said, he wants to see if you want a job. And I said, so I called him, and Bob said, you're hired immediately. I mean, basically, he said, when can you start? And so I started there February 1st of '64, and ended up staying there at KROC radio and television and FM for about 5 years. Went across town to a FM station and was working in his recording studio, and also on the air for about a year. But he was operating on a very thin margin of profit. And Thanksgiving time, he called me up and he said, Pat, what are you doing over Thanksgiving? And I said, well, not many things that I'm aware of, probably working. He said, get yourself somebody to work for you. And we're going down to Terre Haute, Indiana, and visit a friend of mine that owns an FM radio station out of his kitchen of his farmhouse. And so we ended up going down there. And on the way, he kept talking to me about how can we make the business work a little bit better, because he was on a very thin margin. And the next Monday after, he said, I hate to do this to you, but he said, you're absolutely right. You have to fire somebody. And since you're the only person that is a regular staff member and not a stockholder, he says, it was an easy decision to make. And he says, I hate to do it because you're doing an excellent job, but he says, I got to let you go. And so as soon as the word got out that I was looking for a job, I got a call from my friend Paul Wickery, who I worked for at KROC, and he was now at Spokane in Washington State. And I called him and he said, you want a job? And I said, yeah, I'm looking for one. He says, well, they're just opening up a station in Yakima. KXLY is opening up a station in Yakima, and you're the ideal guy for the job. And so I called he said, I'll talk to the vice president in charge of the operation here, and he said, I'll get back to you. So he did. And ended up working at KXLY for about a year, and then he transferred me down here, and I've been here ever since.